Yeah. So it's really amazing to be here in Singapore with you and to see how the retreat that we're holding now next year is unfolding. And we're really learning more ourselves about what it is we want to create and who we want to invite into that space.
Yeah, I think yesterday's gathering was, and actually like a lot of the different events that we've either participated in or that we've held over this last week have been sort of like little bits of information into how we ourselves are going to create the spaces and what we want to create in the spaces that we're holding, and who we're trying to sort of call from the field into our ecosystem to co-create this retreat with, which is really, that came through really clearly for me at the end of yesterday's gathering, when we were just sort of hanging out with the last few people that had stayed on, and really powerful women, really sort of knowledgeable women, and to really feel that the exchange is sort of like an equal exchange, equal inspiration, equal sharing, equal empowerment, rather than this sort of hierarchical way of delivering and facilitating circles, which sometimes tends to be sort of top down, right? So I've been in the yoga world for quite a long time, and the way that a lot of the retreats are facilitated, it's very hierarchical, right? And this is just the way that yoga has been taught, right, for thousands of years. There's a yoga teacher and there's students, and the teacher is the guru, and the students are there to receive this sort of one directional information from the teacher, which came through clearly for me yesterday that this is not what we will be doing, and how much more empowering it is when we can sit in these circle spaces and share through a collective wisdom, honoring everyone's wisdom as really valuable pieces of the whole,
Right. I
which is
think that
amazing.
I think what we're learning is that that's also the most nourishing and enlivening for us
Hmm.
and brings the best from what we have to share to
Yeah.
be in circle, where it is really a co-creation,
Yeah.
right? It's not us sitting on a pedestal and presenting some information for people to come and consume.
Yeah.
It's not about coming to consume and to like collect tools or practices. It's really about creating a shared energy field, and that is where the magic happens,
Yeah.
where there's this sort of spontaneous free flow and exchange without these fixed roles of teacher and student. And to me, I think it's becoming clear really what the difference is between being a teacher and being a
Hmm.
facilitator, right? So there's more of a light touch of bringing in structure, bringing some intention, but then also having the ease with allowing whatever is present in the space to shape what's happening, and knowing that we are all richly resourced with wisdom and experiences that can nourish each other, and that we are really creating a community of practitioners and of leaders that are all mastery and have mastery and depth in their own fields,
Hmm.
and that can cross pollinate and inspire each other and create really like a coven of sorts where we are soul family supporting each other to um, take more responsibility for
Hmm.
what we're creating in the new world that we want to see seated on planet Earth,
Hmm.
right?
And I think this is really important in terms of the wisdom and the strength of the participants that attend. And I say strength not in the physical exercise strength
Mm-hmm.
of yoga asana, but as in empowerment, like inner strength is what is needed during this retreat, because it will be a deconstruction of identity as we know it. right? So it will be taking us into super uncomfortable spaces sometimes. It will be taking us into the places of maybe grieving for our old selves, our lost identity, and then being able to reclaim uh, and reframe new possibilities and choose from the sort of infinite wealth of possibilities that come with the breaking down of identities. So in this way, um, it is almost, I would say, important. Something that we'd like to um, highlight in a way that um, maybe this retreat in its what's the word for it, in its not requirement, but who will benefit most from it will be the ones who perhaps already have a toolbox for regulating their nervous system, for self-soothing, for who already have a level of self-love and self-compassion. You know, of course, we're all still working on these things, and it's never
Right.
it's never going to be in this complete state. But that the work is already sort of being done in these areas, because what we will be doing on the retreat is actually taking people from that place onwards,
Right.
right?
We keep saying that it's not for beginners, right?
Yeah,
We keep repeating
yeah,
that phrase. And I think what that means to me is this idea that while we're all works in progress, that
yeah.
the people who choose to come to this already do have a well of methods and practices for resourcing themselves, for
Mm-hmm,
regulating themselves, and that we want people to come who are self responsible, right? So that there is this platform for us to launch to an even higher level of mastery and
mm-hmm.
being able to, what is it? Hmm. So when we talk about,
A level of mastery that's grounded.
yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
there's a foundation, right?
yeah,
We want people to come with a strong foundation already,
yes,
right? So we want to be able to start from a place of self responsibility,
yep,
self regulation, self mastery. And we are all still working on different aspects of that. But this is a retreat that is for people that have been doing the work already.
yeah,
It's for people that have tools, people that have some meditation practice, have some ability to observe themselves, and can bring that vulnerability to the circle
mm-hmm,
so that we're all able to learn from each other's experiences, right?
yeah. And again, speaking to a level of mastery that is grounded, I just sort of want to bring up the, this possibility, right? That if we were to um, if we were to come into a transcended state, let's say during the retreat at any point, that that transcended state is knowledge to be brought back into this sort of um, grounded being and living in our day to day. So I think it's always been important for us, right? We're like, yes, like transcendence is really profound experiences, but we don't want to stay like up there, right?
Right.
We want to come back down into earth. We will be taking everyone through this process over the course of 8 days, with an intention that when you do return back into the world, right, you are not returning in this way that often happens where people are like, oh, I can't, I'm so, I can't be in this world after I've been away for 8 days, right? That is not the way we want to send you back out. The way we do want to send you back out is, you step out of this retreat and you find joy in your life. You find love in your life. You find forgiveness. You find compassion, even for all the things that, maybe are not so beautiful, not so easy,
Right.
right? And to embrace all of that as part of this divine experience. So I think for me, that's really, really important. It's
Yeah.
being able to go home, right, back to your families after this and be like, I love you, not like, oh my God, you're so annoying. I can't deal with it because I've just been to this retreat for 8 days and I can't handle being back in this space, right?
Right. We're not
No.
here to puff up your spiritual ego.
Yes.
And I think this is actually one of our core shared values
Yeah.
is around integrated spirituality,
Yes.
about the integration and embodiment of all these tools, not just to leave the human experience so that we can be in this state of oneness and bliss, but actually to bring that awareness into the ways that we move in our everyday life, right? So that we're making decisions, having relationships, um, choosing based on our values, and actually putting our money and our energy and our time into ways that are aligned with our higher self, and that it's not just a performative spiritual ego, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really deeply embodied in every decision that we make in our day-to-day life. And this is so important because I think many times we will go into ceremony or go into some kind of peak experience and not really get the full benefit from it because we just treat it as an experience. And it's kind of like you've been on holiday from being human,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't actually change your life in any way. And that's what we don't want to do, right? We don't want to just offer a peak experience. We want to have some tools and experiences that provoke some shock points, right? That allow us to shift out of our known and familiar ego structures and can assist us in kind of shaking those things loose because they're quite difficult to do sometimes when we're in our normal everyday context and we need to kind of leave our routines and our structures in order to change things, but then to do it in a way that's supported both
Mm-hmm.
before, during, and after, that it's sustainable, that it actually impacts lasting change on the way that we're moving in the world.
Yeah. And then as far as from my side, with the tools of yoga, like this massive toolkit of yoga practices that I'm going to be bringing, I think it's such an opportunity for anyone who already has a asana, meditation, breath work, mantra, mudra practice to see how these tools can be applied as a way to prepare the groundwork into the dissolution, and to hold a space for grieving, um, and then make way actually for the regenerative purpose tools to reframe the reality and present opportunities to expand what our concept of reality is and what is possible, right? Because so many times we believe in this limited potential, right? We are limited. There is limitation just by virtue of being in these human bodies, but it is not as limited as we perceive it to be, and that is um, that is essentially one of the other sort of key aspects that we're trying to bring forward through this retreat. And um, like for me, it's so exciting to take yoga tools and sort of use them in this context because they were always meant for this context,
Yeah,
but it's, within the mainstream sort of context, it's a little bit harder to apply, right?
right.
So we're going outside of the mainstream. We're doing something I would say radical in terms of what the mainstream is often um, presented with when it comes to yoga. So there's so much more potential for this practice.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
what I love about the way that you teach yoga
Yeah.
is that it isn't about the physical fitness or flexibility. It
Yeah.
really is focusing on landing in the body and becoming more present,
Hmm.
being able to connect with that body intelligence and softening some of these ego structures that
Yeah.
we imprison ourselves in, the concepts that we have about what kind of person that we are.
Hmm.
And I think the regenerative purpose framework is it is really introducing a new way of seeing reality. And what we're going to be working on is cultivating a healthy mind uh, to be in service to that higher self, right? Instead of being hijacked by our mind and a slave to conditioning or programming from outside, being able to reclaim our sovereignty and use the mind as a servant to be able to help us manifest in 3D reality. And one of those dimensions of regenerative purpose that's really important is this feeling of authentically living as yourself, right? So each one of us has a unique imprint and purpose, let's say, a assignment in Earth that no one else can do.
Mm.
And it really is about being able to remove all these layers and reclaim that for ourselves and to have that experience of living in a way that is so abundant in this sense of interdependence, where we're not necessarily fighting for our individual survival, but that we see our place in the bigger picture and we see the beauty and the generosity of life as it is when we're in interdependence, in community, in connection with each other, and that that is our natural state of being that we have been removed from in many ways because of the fear-based structures and systems that most of us have been raised in. And I think that the main thing that we want to soften is this idea that ego or mind is something that needs to be eliminated. Because a lot of spiritual teachings might mislead us to think that the ego or the mind is something that we need to get rid of completely or we need to just destroy. And I would say that some of the fourth way teachings that I bring from Gurdjieff and my Enneagram background, as well as teachings of regenerative purpose, it really is about being able to see through our ego patterns, not because we want to get rid of them, but because they offer us clues into what our unique purpose and path is. So I always love to say that ego is not the problem, ego is the path.
Mm.
So whatever it is that is causing us suffering, whether they're habits of mind or emotions, different dramas or narratives or dysfunctional dynamics that we tend to get into, when we're able to step back and really look at that, that is the key to our liberation, both individually and collectively. If we can look at that dispassionately and compassionately for the suffering human that all of us are living in, and be able to just navigate life with a little bit more ease. And yeah.
I love that. um, so yeah, 8 days, complete dissolution, grief, rebuilding, rebirthing, not for the faint of heart, for sure. But we do welcome anyone who's ready to take these steps, um, and invite you to reach out to us and ask us questions if you have any, whether it's about the itinerary, the program, the ceremony, or whether this retreat is appropriate for you to join. I think that's important to determine, and we can do that through personal conversation, um, to ensure that, your questions are covered.
And maybe we've focused a bit about the discouragement part in terms of like who shouldn't come. But I guess on the encouragement side, I would just add that it is meant to be a strong experience, but also it's going to be a super nourishing,
Yeah.
cozy, held container. And I mean, Julie and I are spending more than a year preparing ourselves and preparing the space and the energy field to welcome you. So there's a lot of love and care that is going into this space. And I know that because we're taking time, that the caliber of the people who are going to be attracted to this offer is going to be just phenomenal. And that what we're creating is is a crucible, but it's also a, cozy container for like-minded, like-hearted individuals to come together in true community of support and kinship and supporting each other to really be able to step into that next level of leadership that the world really, really needs right now. So I think that for those who do come, I would not hesitate to say that I feel, think, and know that it will be a life-changing experience.
It's good.
Yeah.
Is it?
For sure recording there?
It is recording.
It is recording. Okay, so let's do the clap. 1, 2, 3.
Oh shit. Wait, do it again.
Okay.
Wait. Sorry.
We can have multiple claps also. If we
Purpose.
have
Oh yeah,
certain places where we're cutting for
yes,
topics,
exactly.
we
Yeah,
can
well,
also
yeah,
cut in with a clap.
exactly. Okay.
So, okay, how's your hair?
My hair is fine. It's struggling, but it's fine.
Okay, ready? 1,
Okay.
2,
Three.
3.
Oh no. One,
What?
2, 3. Again.
No, that's too many claps. It's confusing.
Okay.
I think one clap is good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And we can clap again if we want to switch topics.
Okay. All right. So we can just free flow from here.
Yeah.